People crave recognition and status, but are never satisfied and always want more. How does one find the true fulfillment in relationship to others? Jesus taught that demonstrating humility and extending unselfish hospitality brings fulfillment in this life and the life to come. In Luke's Gospel, Christ has been heading toward Jerusalem and the cross since Luke chapter 9 verse 51. With every step the tension builds, and Luke 13 only adds fuel to the fire. As he has done on previous occasions, to the dismay of the Jewish leaders, Jesus heals on the Sabbath. But Jesus doesn't stop there. He calls his followers for a commitment to a kingdom where humble beginnings produce something of enormous and lasting value. And this brings us to our key verse for today, which reads, "For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Luke chapter 14, verse 11. Humility begins by being thankful to have received an invitation, which is a much different attitude than, "Now that I am here, who can see me?" It can be safely assumed that even for this meal, the invited guests took concerted efforts to select for themselves seats of honor, places where others might assume they were important, and had a special relationship to the host and his special guest Jesus. This practical lesson has significant spiritual overtones. Where we think we ought to stand in relation to others is in all likelihood an indication of where we think we stand before God. Verse 9 reinforces the idea that the host decides who should take the seats of honor. Honor has a positive value for men in this society, and shame, in this case, would be the opposite. The man forced to move from the privileged seat at the head of the table down to the lowest end of the front of all the other guests would be shamed by being relocated. Peter later writes, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." When we strive to achieve or acquire recognition for ourselves, we are on our own. God, godly humility is our best defense and remedy against the scarring emotional pains of public humiliation. People who lift themselves up suffer the inevitable fate of humiliation. The real lesson Jesus is trying to impart to the disciples is that in God's kingdom, God will bring about a reversal of human social constructs. The ones considered among the lowest socially will be exalted or lifted up, and those who have enjoyed the highest social position, either as a result of the family they were born into, or wealth acquired legitimately or through trickery, will be lowered. In a reversal of societal expectations, Jesus commands the host to instead invite the poor and physically disabled. The poor, maimed, lame, and blind were members of society who were dependent on public generosity for their welfare and did not have the financial resources to repay their host. Jesus counsels the host to invite society's outcast. Jesus was very concerned with those pushed to the margins of society because of their economic disadvantage, uncleanness, or physical disability. Jesus' message is that performing such acts of kindness without the expectation of reward will not only bless the individual here on earth, he or she will also receive a heavenly reward at the resurrection of the just. Here's our lesson. In our world, social status seems like it means everything. Even in the virtual world, we can create a status via social media that usually does not tell the full truth about who we are. We change profile pictures and statuses often to show others who we are at the moment. But at that moment, we are offering only a sample of who God has created us to be. Christian discipleship does not typically justify our desire to be important and famous. Christian discipleship requires us to take low places of recognition, which do not always offer immediate reward. Christian discipleship speaks truth to power and offers those who are least likely to be socially important an opportunity to gain recognition. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing to iLights. Heavenly Father, fill our hearts with what we truly desire, for who we truly seek is you.